Does it make sense to just level set for our audience, maybe at a 30,000 foot level? What do we mean when we are talking about private capital? Maybe, Robert, you want to start with you?
Sure, happy to take that up. So the term private capital is largely as a contrast to the publicly traded companies on various stock exchanges, the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange. Private capital really amasses a large, high volume amount of capital that is directed for opportunities that are not publicly traded in its simplest form. So other names you would hear are the private equity marketplace, the private credit marketplace, venture capital, growth equity, but all of those are forms of private capital.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Great. So with that understanding, maybe you guys could give us some just insights into what are some of the trends that you're experiencing in the private capital space right now. Emily, maybe jump over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that what we're seeing is that there's longer hold periods, at least after, the IPOs back in 2021, 22. A lot of private capital has been holding on to companies, ensuring that they're really in a good operational place, as well as the financial metrics to be able to stand alone as a public company. So there's always some sort of exit if it's private equity or venture capital that the investors are looking towards. But in recent years, there's been longer holding periods. Obviously, M&A is still a factor in regards to private capital and making companies even bigger to become public. And there's some that trade hands between private capital owners between years. So I would say that the longer hold periods, the expectation that the companies are larger and growing and excelling in their space, as well as the potential that the exit isn't an IPO.
Yeah, Robert, anything to add?
Yeah, I think the other big trend, and we can't get away from these two little letters, AI.
Mhm.
AI is a huge trend in the marketplace, and it really is having the it's really changing the lens through which we look at companies. There are companies today that if you think about them in an AI reform model, what are they going to look like if they're an AI centric company? If they apply the technology and if they fully leverage what's available from an AI standpoint. And then there are the companies that are examining, they're not going to be able to change or not going to invest to change that much. And they're worried about the impact AI is going to have on them. Will AI cannibalize, their marketplace? Will it destroy their monetization models? So I think that AI is a big trend. And then the last one that I would mention is companies that are really just trying to get healthy. Because you have a lot of companies that were invested 7, 8 years ago, which is a long time in private
Mhm.
capital. And those companies have gone through, very, very tightened markets. They've been impacted in some ways by unforeseen issues like tariffs, um, uh, Doge changes in other business and industry models. So I think there are companies that are trying to get healthy. And if they're, impacted by private equity, they're using the toolkit to do that. They're recapitalizing some of the companies, they're adding additional management, and a variety of things like that. So all of those, I would say, would be trends that we're seeing.